And Delhi Capitals with the win go to, of course, top of the table, and they are virtually qualified because in IPL history, we've never seen a team get 16 points and not qualify for the playoffs. And we have Jarrod Kimber with us right now because he called correctly before the game saying Delhi will run away comprehensive winners, and they did, Jarrod.
They're just a better team. Also, did Rajasthan decide to rest their players because they thought that they weren't going to win this one anyway? I'm really interested. If that you see that a lot in American sports, obviously, if you're playing a very big team and you decide, well, we're probably not going to win this anyway. Let's tell Evin and Chris to have a rest so that they can be fresher for the next game. But yeah, I think Delhi are just a better team, aren't they? They're a better team than Rajasthan. I don't think anyone would argue that at all. And they were way too good. It was interesting. Commentators seemed to think all the way through that Delhi hadn't scored enough runs. I didn't think Delhi batted particularly well, but I thought they'd always scored enough runs. And that wasn't the way that everyone saw it. But with that bowling attack on that pitch, they were brilliant.
Yeah, because at the halfway mark, you reckon that maybe Rajasthan could perhaps pull this chase off, because at the end of the day, at the halfway mark, there was a stat floating about, given the fact that Delhi, the only two times they've kind of really restricted Rajasthan to run chase below 155, and that happened twice, once in Bloemfontein when the IPL ran in South Africa, and the other time in 2012 in Delhi. But coming back to the Abu Dhabi affair, because at the end of the day, Rajasthan, if they won, they could have gone, above RCB with 10 points?
Yeah, it would have been really interesting if they'd won. They would have gone up. Their batting lineup, the minute I looked at their batting lineup for this particular game, I was like, it's not. I mean, look, they've had trouble with their middle order all the way through, needing Liam Livingstone to open and have David Miller come up the order. It just didn't look right. I mean, they had Shamsi listed at 8. Obviously you never want to get down to your number 8. The whole thing just didn't feel right to me. So, look, it's a shame for Rajasthan, but this was not the game they needed. If they were going to go ahead of RCB, they needed a friendlier game than going up against Delhi in this particular sort of situation.
We'll come to Delhi in just a bit, but Rajasthan, their power play woes continue because they've lost wickets quickly in the power play, and we saw that today as well. I think it was the worst power play score in IPL 2021, 21 for 3, and they were always playing catch-up cricket. I thought they were actually putting on a couple of partnerships would kind of get them there, but it was too much for Samson in the end. Is it the batting which really needs to look at? Because like you said, even team selection at times has been baffling.
Yeah, even if you look at it, they brought Shamsi in for Chris Morris, which is a specialist bowler coming in for a batter. So straight away they were weakening a specialist bowler coming in for an all-rounder. Straight away weakening their batting. But realistically, I think their problems were way before the start of this tournament. Had Jofra and Ben Stokes been here, perhaps it would be different. And we'd be talking about everything completely differently. But almost from game one, it was quite clear that they didn't really have a middle order. And I think you saw that again today. I mean, look, you lose 3 wickets for no runs in the power play, and you're going to lose a lot of games. There's no doubt about that. But a team like Rajasthan, there's no way back from it. Well, we have actually seen, of recent times, Chennai lose 3 wickets, or 4 wickets in their power play. And they had the ability to come back from it because they have a strong middle order, and then also they bat quite deep. Rajasthan don't do either of those things. They just don't have middle batting. It's really weird looking at their team to see what they've been set up for. What are they trying to specialize in? I can't really work it out. They might be able to scrape by and get 4th, but realistically, I think the mega auction is really where a lot of their problems are going to be sorted. Or getting Jofra and Ben Stokes back might be handy too.
Yeah, and let's see how it goes for them, because they can go again and rally the troops, because they take on SRH on a Monday night affair, so that'll be interesting. Delhi, because let's just wrap this chat up before we get into your predictions. I mean, they're really looking a solid team, but was this their best team on paper? I mean, many pundits before the game were reckoning perhaps it could have been Tom Curran coming in for Marcus Stoinis. They went in for Lalit Yadav, maybe the extra spinner. Did you see it that way as well, or did you see it differently?
I'm a big fan of Lalit Yadav. If you go back to the start of this, I was shocked that Delhi haven't played him more. I think he's a really, really good player. I think he gives them extra flexibility with the ball, but is just a top quality batter as well. Like, I think he averages 40 or something in first class cricket. I think he's a really good cricketer. I was happy to see him back. He's not the same as Marcus Stoinis, though. It's a different kind of setup. Tom Curran would have been a really interesting one because you'd be backing him to make more runs than he probably usually makes, but obviously would have strengthened the bowling. They're probably thinking at the moment they don't need to strengthen the bowling, and having Lalit Yadav as a backup probably gives them more than Tom Curran. I think the only thing going forward really for Delhi is a concern is going to be Marcus Stoinis' hamstring, because if it is anything more than a very, very slight strain, that's going to be a problem for them coming back. And without him in the side, I do think, as they get deeper into the part of the tournament that they're pretty much, as you said, already qualified for, I think that's where that's going to become a problem for them, is Marcus Stoinis. I don't think it's certainly not going to be a problem in the group stages, because I think they'll still qualify first or second with Lalit Yadav or even Tom Curran playing in that position from time to time.
Yeah, and a certain Steve Smith as well, who's just been kind of lurking near the boundary ropes.
He's a 12th man now. It's fine. It's a new job.
It's ridiculous. But at the end of the day, let's check out the predictions that you and Critlytics made, because Critlytics, tough one for the robot to take, because it said Evin Lewis. Perhaps he could have come out there and smoked it. He didn't play at all. And you went Shikhar Dhawan. Unfortunately, it was a tame dismissal, really, a play on from Karthik Tyagi, and he didn't trouble the scorer, should we say. So let's move on to the bowlers, because Critlytics went for Shamsi, you went for Rabada, but it was his compatriot, in fact, Anrik Nokia, 2 for 18.
Yeah, I thought they used him really well. I think it's worth mentioning that I didn't think Shamsi was quite on top of his game. I think early on they weren't picking him, and he looked really good. And once they started to work him out, he didn't look at his best. Again, I think this was probably a pitch for quick bowlers hitting the deck. So I'm not going to worry too much about Shamsi's form there, but worth mentioning that. Rabada, they held Rabada back a little bit, didn't they? Do you remember one of the reasons I thought they might go with Rabada early on? Because he's looking in slightly better form as far as taking wickets early on. They used Nokia in that role, and as you said, he took the wickets. So look, they're both really good. The biggest problem having both of them in the same team is that they're so similar at times, and that's where having someone like Chris Wokes would have been quite handy. But obviously, they don't have that flexibility anymore. But it's not a terrible situation to be in to have Rabada and Nokia.
Yeah, I don't think so at all, because at the end of the day, it was just brilliant how they complement each other. And then you have Avesh Khan in the mix as well, and then Ashwin Akshat. So it's a good set of bowlers. Maybe, like you said, the sixth bowler is the all-important one. Let's see how they figure that out. Right. Before we go on to the third prediction, we asked the viewers before this match who will take the most catches in this one. Now, I let Jarrod had to go. He said Samson, if my memory serves me right. It was actually Rishabh Pant who grabbed 2. And yet again, it was Ashish Chauhan who's turned out to be the winner for the goodie bag. So you get 2 now, my friend.
You're kidding me. You can't give him... What? He's like the Virat Kohli of goodie bags.
At the end of the day, he got it right the last match as well. So, I mean, he needs to reach out to us for the goodie bag to be kind of materialized. But finally, it was Critlytics and you getting this prediction right in terms of calling Delhi before the game. So it was 1-1, nothing to choose from. Final word from you here, because at the end of the day, we clearly saw a gulf of class between the two sides.
Yeah, I suppose it's a little bit harder to work it out because of the Evin Lewis, Chris Morris situation, which makes it more confusing, doesn't it? But you're right. Delhi looks like a different level. Rajasthan is stuck in that sort of, what would you call it now? Like a flabby middle with RCB floating back and Mumbai not going anywhere. And then, the two teams from the bottom sort of slugging out as well. But yeah, I think you're right at the moment. I really can't see any team finishing fourth having a real say in this tournament. If someone gets on a run and ends up at third, maybe they could do something for the top 2 teams. But, if you're looking at tiers at the moment, you basically got, sort of 2 teams at the top, 4 teams in the middle, and 2 teams at the bottom. And Rajasthan's just, chunked in the middle, and Delhi's right up top.
I think you've summed it up absolutely perfectly. Thanks so much for listening, guys. And, of course, you can catch more of Jarrod on cricket.com on Super Sunday, because those two are some sensational clashes coming across, and we'll have that covered for you. Until the next time, it's a goodbye from me.